I'm done with this witness, Your Honor.
Most people are present. All rise. This is court hearing DOJ/SC/008, People of the United States versus Chief of LSPD Tania Murphy. Plaintiff is claiming the defendant is committed following crimes. That would be Penal Code 3.1, Terrorist Act as accomplice. Penal Code 3.2, recruiting the population for participation in terrorism as accomplice. Penal Code 3.4, mass riot as accomplice. Penal Code 3.5, obstruction of a lawful activity as accomplice. 3.6, murder of civil servant and law officer as accomplice. 3.7, attempted coup d'etat as accomplice. 3.9, collusion. Penal Code 4.2, negligence in performance of official duties. Penal Code 4.3, sabotage. Penal Code 4.4, disclosure of data of operational activity. And Penal Code 4.5, arbitrariness. Are all parties present, plaintiff?
All parties belonging to the state's investigation are present, Your Honor.
Is defendant present?
Does not appear so, Your Honor.
Alright, in that case, Mr. Pijibis, would you like to make a short presentation of your prosecutor side?
Sure.
Please come to stand.
Alrighty. Give me just a moment to get everything pulled up here. Maybe. There we go. Alright. Stand by, that's the wrong string.
Okay.
There we go. Alright, so in this video, we have just a moment here. We have a 53-second video here that shows
I'm gonna get
an undercover agent with the FIB
Tell me what you want.
identifies Lewis.
I think
Thrust,
you know what. I think you gotta go
terrorist of
into.
the Bloods.
You gotta do like
and then if we move forward, we can see that at the toward the end, Tania Murphy arrives on the scene, identifies the subject as Lewis Thrust, does nothing in a law enforcement capacity, even though Lewis Thrust has several charges pending against him at this moment, and she allowed him to access the building with no repercussions. In this next video, the same undercover operative was in front of
you were gonna
PD.
fucking arrest me.
Why don't I arrest you? You're doing anything wrong.
And once again, we have Lewis Thrust and an individual who is later identified through other means as Louise Thrust and Tania Murphy.
Well, I'm probably one of the most wanted men in this city.
Oh, you hear me that?
And again, we see here that he is on the property of the police department with no repercussions from not only Tania, but other officers present. He even at one point admits in this video that he has illegal weapons on him. And he is as you heard, the most wanted criminal in the state. And Tania does nothing.
Hi Tanya, how are you doing?
Yo, can you hear me?
Tanya, get your hands up. Why? You scared? Do you remember when you tried to arrest me? Do you remember when you tried to arrest me in the city?
Hold on.
Wait, not bad.
Bro, what the fuck is a green zone?
So we're going to pass that a little bit here. And at one point here, you can actually physically see that...
Fuck for someone who knows the rules, retard. Take him out of cuffs right now. Here's a...
Actually, I don't think I'll talk about that very well.
Fucking...
he takes a gun out, points it at Tania,
So when you
takes a gun out, and points it at Tanya's head. And makes the threat that if he was arrested, that he would proceed to make a call and have 50 or more Bloods descend upon the police headquarters.
There you go.
Oh, but no, man. Yeah, I feel you.
Fucking idiot!
Hey, I'll have to ask you.
Now, as we can see here, both of these two individuals had guns in their hands, and Tania only asked them to leave. This, by definition, if not collusion, is arbitrariness and negligent in performance of her duties. These individuals should have been arrested. They should have been charged as the terrorists they are. They were not. They were allowed to leave with their freedom intact.
What do you think I fucking did to you? You know, I could have you killed him.
Here you heard Mr. Lewis Thrust state that he could have the police chief killed at any minute because he had heavy snipers up on every roof. That, by definition, is assault threat. At this point, this individual should have been taken into custody. He was not. Again, if that's not collusion, that is at least assault by threat and should have been taken into custody. I would make the argument that that, in and of itself, is a terroristic threat. We'll continue.
Well, so you're not fearing for your life, no?
About 5 seconds.
Got a gun in my hand.
I'm still able to copy right now.
Okay, cool. Hold on, let's go. Look, I'll call 58 Bloods on the scene right now, bro. How many fucking members have you got? That's not...
So there you heard him state that he would call 68 members of the Bloods down upon the HQ of the police department. That is another case of assault by threat. In this case, a threat that should be considered to be legitimate, as the Bloods and Lewis Thrust have demonstrated in the past that he does have these numbers. He does have the ability to do this. Yet again, he is allowed to enter a vehicle and leave the scene instead of being prosecuted, instead of being arrested. In this last video, we have an interrogation of Louise Thrust. That was the second individual that we saw in the prior videos. And in this video, she states that not only Tania Murphy is giving information to the Bloods about when the FIB plans to raid the Bloods HQ, which is collusion, sabotage, as well as violation of State Secrets Acts. But we also have her incriminating a couple of other officers that will wait for another time, obviously. But let's go ahead and get this part here.
Tania's the only one that knows about the gang raid.
So what's Gabby giving? What's Gabby telling you?
Sucks my dick every now and then.
Yeah, no, what's she telling you? I don't give a fuck about that.
Alright, what we on, right?
Okay, as you heard there, she clearly stated that Tania gives them information about gang raids when the FIB is coming. The last 3 gang raids that have happened at HQ, up until the one that just happened tonight of the Bloods, they found that the headquarters and the warehouse had been emptied, and there was not that much items to seize. However, at any time that we, as law enforcement officers, have encountered the Bloods, they have been better and more heavily armed than any law enforcement agency in the state. How would they have those weapons if they were not hiding them and they knew when FIB was coming to raid their headquarters? This is a crime. This is collusion at its worst. It is corruption, and it should be dealt with a jail sentence and removal of office. And that will, I would rest my case on that, Your Honor.
I have a question regarding evidence from interrogation.
Okay.
How are you sure that that criminal wasn't lying?
This subject was induced with truth serum.
Do you have proof of that truth serum being applied?
I can obtain it in about 30 seconds.
Right, I'm gonna give you 1 minute. Mr. Bejeebus, have you obtained?
I have.
Okay. Can you please step forward and pass it to me?
Sure can.
Well, I apologize for being late. Mr. Holmes, is Mr. Holmes present?
Yeah.
Can you please step forward to witness stand?
Sure.
It is to your left.
Say again?
It's over here, Charlotte.
Oh. Sorry.
Okay, Mr. Holmes, can you raise your right hand and repeat after me?
Sure.
Oh, not repeat, I'm sorry. Do you swear to tell truth, whole truth, nothing but truth, and you will keep secrets, and you will... Sorry. To say truth and nothing but truth. So help me God.
Yeah, I swear I will say only truth.
Okay, Mr. Bijibis. You can question your witness.
Thank you. Agent Holmes, how long have you been an FBI agent or FIB agent?
I'm here for over like 1.5 months, I guess.
Okay. And how long were you investigating corruption at the LSPD?
So last few like weeks, we have we got some like things we are watching like LSPD or LSPD guys are becoming hostage and all. So we are kind of doubt a little bit, and then I put one of my undercover agent to like look into things, and um, as you can see on the evidences, we found something like which can uh, which we saw like one of the city's most wanted criminal is like they're literally connected with them. So I felt that I should bring bring this up so we can like literally save our LSPD guys.
And
Officers.
what actions did you personally observe that Tanya did that were illegal?
Okay, so honestly, my eyes were, I was after Gabby. I forget his surname. So then when we saw like we were investigating on Gabby Tosca, I guess his name, her name. So during this investigation, and we were watching her activities, but we found that also Tania Murphy, the chief, also were there during those situations, like where I saw like my undercover agents saw like they were literally talking each other with the wanteds were literally guns out, and she was not even reacting or taking any action.
Okay. And in regards to the capture and interrogation of Louise Thrust, what can you tell us exactly what she told you and your partner about the or were you present for that?
Uh, yes, I was there. So
Okay, can you tell me exactly what she said about Tanya?
yeah, she said that he's. I asked him that you were in touch with Tania Murphy, or she first told me about Gabby. Then she told me that yes, I know Tania. We meet each other at HQ, and um, I mean, Tania is giving him, sorry, her or his, her gang, the informations about, the activity we 5B mostly doing like gang raids and all.
Okay, and the reason that we believe this is because you administered truth serum. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And using truth serum is routine practice for you. Is that correct?
I mean, I believe so.
Alrighty, Your Honor. I've got no further questions.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Holmes. You can go back.
Thank you.
Court will take a break of 5 minutes until verdict is decided. In case DOJ/SC/008 People of the United States against Tania Murphy, Supreme Court has decided the following. For Penal Code 3.1 Terrorist Act as accomplice, defendant was found guilty. For Penal Code 3.2 Recruiting the population for participation in terrorism as accomplice, defendant was found guilty. In Penal Code 3.4 Mass riots as accomplice, defendant was found guilty. In Penal Code 3.5 Obstruction of lawful activity as accomplice, defendant was found guilty. In Penal Code 3.6 Murder of a civil servant or law enforcement officer as accomplice, defendant was found guilty. In Penal Code 3.7 Attempted coup d'etat as accomplice, defendant was found guilty. For Penal Code 3.9 collusion, defendant was found guilty. For Penal Code 4.2 negligence in performance of official duties, defendant was found guilty. For Penal Code 4.3 sabotage, as accomplice, defendant was found guilty. For Penal Code 4.4 disclosure of data of operational activity, defendant was found guilty. For Penal Code 4.4 arbitrariness, the defendant was found guilty as well. Defendant is now charged with 75 months in Department of Correction, as well as $50,000 fine. Defendant will be removed from organization and blacklisted to hold position of state leader. Temporary position of Chief of LSPD, it will go to Mr. Cheif. Case closed.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Sorry.